What?
Don't start laughing right now.
Well, welcome once again to the Big B and Little T channel. I'm the Big B.
And I'm Little T. Today we're going to talk about a follow-up to our last video. On a part of that video, if you have watched it, we talked about what could possibly be in the future as we are aging gracefully. And we came up with an idea to do some vision boards of possibilities of what could be our future. And so in this video, you're going to see us talking about those different ideas and just kind of laying it all out there and how we're going to follow up with those to see what could be coming up.
What's in the future?
Exactly. So, on with the video.
So, is this about the right height? I just want to read that. Okay, excellent. So this was the original vision board that we started creating on one of our Sabbath a couple weekends ago. Of course, they've been in our mind longer than one night. But we started to put it down on paper, and one of the things that we feel is very important is for people to, have vision, but to put it in a place that you see on a daily basis. So this is in our utility room, and we do come in here pretty frequently, and so it's kind of right there in your face. And not something like on this piece of paper and hidden away in a notebook that we'll never see again. So we'll go into a little bit of detail later on, but what we're really doing is looking at each of these four options and of course the famous fifth one, the unknown. Looking at each one of those and asking ourselves, what are some advantages and disadvantages of being in Flagstaff or in traveling with Vanessa Van Go. Of course, we can't do that with the unknown. So we've already, again, begun to list some of those, and we'll kind of walk you through that process. But what we think is important to understand is having it out, talking about it on a regular basis. We're going to schedule time each week, even if it's 15, 20 minutes, just to make sure, if nothing else, we're going to stare at the board. But it does create conversation. And maybe there's some new things that have popped up. I talked to my brother yesterday, and he sent us some things today that made us kind of think about things that we really hadn't thought about before, and just being open-minded. But for us, it's important to understand as well is that we have this, we're not going to write on the wall here, but there's this overarching important aspect of the vision, which is we really truly want to be very in tune with what God wants us to do. But we also are believers that God gave us a brain, and God would expect us to use our brain and to explore these opportunities, and we believe when the time is right, He'll open the right door at the right time, whether it's one of these four or whether it's an unknown. So it's not just about what we want to do, we certainly want to be in tune with what God wants us to do.
And these are some ideas that we have kind of been coming up with as to what could be in the future. And one that we have lined out here is Flagstaff, and we know we like it there. Our daughter lives in Flagstaff, and we've visited a few times. We like the activities there. Another one is Kentucky. We partner with the church there and have visited there quite a few times and have some friends there. And so Kentucky is another one that's kind of on our radar as a possibility. Got a couple more ideas here. Vanessa Van Go. We recently purchased a camper van in the spring and are exploring the idea that possibly we would do some traveling in Vanessa Van Go on a more long-term basis as opposed to just weekends away in the van, which is what we have done so far at a local lake. So that's one idea. A fourth idea is Oregon. Brian's brother lives in Oregon with his wife, and we have visited there many times, even when the kids were little, and have always felt attracted to Oregon, in the particular area where they live in the Willamette Valley in Corvallis, particularly where Oregon State University is. It's just a town that reminds us a lot of Stillwater, where we grew up and went to college. So Oregon is another idea. And then last of all, we have this big blank one, and this was something that I thought was necessary to have, and that is the big unknown. So this is something that might not even be on our radar now. We feel like we need to be open to all options, and so this would just be an exploration of things that come into our mind, and we'll just keep exploring and writing down ideas about these choices. So now that we have our poster boards all up and labeled, we're going to go and list some of the advantages and disadvantages that we can think of so far for each of these, just in kind of in a general outline. So for Flagstaff, some of the advantages that we have are that we really like the location, and we like that there's a lot of outdoor activities for outdoor recreation. Our daughter Kylie right now lives there, which she might not live there forever, but right now she's there. Some of the disadvantages that we see is that there's a high cost of living. I'll just put high cost of living there. And so far as we can tell, the winters may be a little bit colder, more snow possibilities, just because it's in a mountainous area. And Kentucky, there the advantage is that we already have a spiritual connection with the people in Woodburn, around the Woodburn and Franklin area. And we also have friends there already that we know. We've made friends through our connection with the church there. And it is a lower cost of living. And some of the disadvantages that we see there is that we aren't really sure about outdoor recreation, because that's something we really desire, is to have opportunities to be out in nature, hiking, things like that. And going on to Vanessa Van Go, one of the advantages to that is that it's already like you have your home on wheels, so home is wherever you are. And we're really completely untethered, so we have freedom to go. I'm just going to put freedom to go in all capitals, because you can just kind of go wherever you want to go. You kind of have everything all together. Some of the disadvantages that we see is that being that free is kind of like you are disconnected from your tribe. And for us, we're pretty much routine people, so we would be really, our regular routine, I'll put regular in quotes, would be changed. So it'd be a completely new routine from what we're used to. And the last one is Oregon. The advantages of going to Oregon is that Brian's brother is there, so it's like we know we have family there, and a place to stay, and there's outdoor activities, outdoor recreation. It's near, even though it's in the valley area, it's near mountains and it's near the beach within driving distance. So there's a lot of opportunity for that. Disadvantages that we see there would be much less sun. So it's that Pacific Northwest kind of climate. And also cost of living. seems to be about comparable with that of Flagstaff. So that's a couple of disadvantages. When we look at the unknown, we can't list advantages or disadvantages because it's unknown. So we'll leave that one blank.
So it's important to understand that this is a process. So we're not going to be able to solve what our next adventure is going to be in one night or even in 1 week. And that's the fun process, is the adventure of kind of walking through this process together. And hopefully over the next year or so, we land on something that's going to work for us and is in alignment with where God wants us to be as well. So I'm going to use this as an example, these 4 examples of what we hope to do over the next year to kind of, as our friend Amjad says, we're going to prototype these, which basically means test them out. So I'm going to use Flagstaff as an example. We went to see our daughter in June in Flagstaff, and of course we went for vacation. We went to visit her, but we also went with the intentionality of really looking at it as a potential place to live. And it's a lot different when you look at it as a place to live as it is opposed to just going on a vacation. So we actually went and looked at a number of different apartments to just see what it costs to live there, what is it like to live there, what are the different neighborhoods. And so we didn't solve all of the issues, but that was something that we were testing. So we've been to Flagstaff and we've kind of tested that market out. Now, Kentucky we've been to, but never have been there as a quote prototype, where we actually go to consider that as a possible place to settle in. So again, we're not sure because of the pandemic when that might happen, but the next trip that we make to Kentucky will go with the same intention as we did Flagstaff. We'll go visit our friends, we'll join in with our spiritual connection with the church there, but we'll also look at things like the cost of living, what are some things that you can do in that area, and so on. It's a very different, again, to go to intentionally think about living there as opposed to just visiting friends. I'm going to skip down to the Oregon one. That's the same exact thing. We hope to have a visit to Oregon sometime in the next year to visit my brother, but also to go and look at cost of living. What are some other things that we can do there? How much sun do they really get, or how much lack of sun do they really get? And then the last one would be Vanessa Van Go. So we obviously have taken, if you've seen in our vlogs, we have done some very short camping trips, and we'll continue to do that. But that is a lot different than actually living in the van for several weeks or several months or whatever it may be. So one prototype that we'll do is we plan at some point to take Vanessa on a longer trip. Now we don't know what that might be. We might even drive to Kentucky, a 12-hour trip over a 2 or 3 or 4 day period to give us some idea of what that's like, not just for us, but also just the condition of the van. Is the van in a condition that is going to be able to, be on the road for several months? So those are the prototypes of what we'll be doing over the next year. And again, there could be another one that comes here that we don't know at this point, the unknown. And again, prototyping that out, testing that out, and not just talking or not just doing it on paper, but actually going and visiting it and really thinking about, is this a place that we want to end up living and getting connected in that particular community?
Okay, so that's it for our first run through with some of these ideas that we're prototyping. We hope to see you on the next video when we look at more alternatives or even just hash out this a little bit more. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. If you have any comments, leave them for us. If you want to subscribe or like it, we really appreciate it. You guys have a great week. What?
Don't start laughing right now. It's not the time.
Get settled, hon.
I did a girl.
Okay.
It's a good girl.
1, 2. Let's start over. What? Is she in the picture?
She's in
you
it,
think?
yes.
Okay. Good girl, is. Good girl. Okay. Okay. Well, welcome once again to the Big B and Little T channel. Oh, that's a big T.
It'd be alright.
I almost said it. It was like an obsessive thought I could get over.
You're crying.
Okay, all right. Okay, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. Well, welcome once again. My tongue hurts. I'm going to reshoot later.
Why?
You talk, I'll just sit.
Okay. Can you do that?
Okay, I'll be trying it. If I can just say my part, then I'm done.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay.
Did you leave?
You big girl.
No, I need.
She doesn't understand, I don't think. Hey, big girl, I don't understand either. Okay, this is perfect. This is perfect. Okay.
Oh, Mom. Okay.
Hey, you know, speaking of, come on, let's just take a pause. Well, welcome once again to the Big B and Little T. Okay.
What's funny?
I'm afraid I'm going to say the Big T. I don't want to. I don't.
Introduce your kid.
Okay.
Do I need to say? I'll just introduce everybody.
No, I'm okay. I'm gonna get to my part. Okay.
It's okay, Lucy. Daddy's okay. We think.
Okay. Well, welcome once again to the Big B and Little T channel. Big B.
Are you sure?
Okay, let's just do it again. Okay.